Here we are at Hawthorne. Okay, we're going to visit. Look at that, E pluribus unum. They actually have in God we trust. This is really cool.
They took mine down.
Because I thought it was those Thornley. So he is, I forgot who he is.
Oh, I'll take one. Thank you.
We've
Thank
been
you.
down for agenda.
Yeah, you can.
Put public comment.
Yeah, you can.
Let me check the. How you doing?
Thank you so much. Arthur, you want some in?
I'd like that. Probably be good. Probably stink. My breath probably stinks. That one might be even better.
You're like me.
I'm gonna need it.
Open this.
But I'm gonna have to spit it out as soon as I'm up there. There you go.
I tried
Did
the
you?
orange.
You're gonna go there? Good for you. Go for it. But remember, it starts at 7, so
I was in the market.
I appreciate that.
He says there's a lot of people here. He doesn't want
Okay, we got Olivia, Nilo. Hey, how you doing, Nilo?
We're getting a phone call.
Anybody want to sit?
Hello?
I'm sorry? Of course. I'm not blocking anybody.
No, no, I'm just saying. It's
Hey, Fred. I put it on there. Anybody can.
We got.
I'm like, why can't this go on the calendar if there's not anything else happening?
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
Well, they had anything
We want to make sure that we do this properly. Oral communications, that's where we are.
Hi, Philip.
So they're gonna have one presentation,
Wow.
and that'll be really quick. Oh,
Hi,
brother.
Megan.
Not with me though. I will always make room for you.
Oh, yes. I
Okay.
do. Yeah. I stand up and I forget everything that I'm going to say and I say something like,
All right, guys, get your signs up really quick. I'll take a quick photo because we're gonna probably have to leave really quick.
what are you doing?
I'm gonna take a quick photo. You got signs?
Group up here anymore? Patterson?
Oh no.
Okay.
Huh.
Interesting.
Oh jeez.
Interesting.
You're doing live?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of.
So you know where the video is.
I knew you were going to be good. The May 22nd, 2018 regular meeting of the Hawthorne City Council is called to order with all members present. Pastor Lawrence Becker will be doing the invocation today, and we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Superintendent Morgan.
Please rise.
I'm here on behalf of Trinity Lutheran Church as well as the Hawthorne Lawndale Ministerial Association. I would like to thank the mayor and many of the city council people for attending our National Day of Prayer celebration. It was great to gather together and lift up our community in prayer. I've been spending time in the Sermon on the Mount lately, which is fairly universal. Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It's not good for anything. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. One of the things I enjoy about living in Hawthorne is it is a very salty place in the best way of putting it. And you are a light to our community. People truly are blessed by being here. In this world, people often take a negative view of something that Jesus said. He said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. They often take it, do unto others before they do unto you. We are called to be light and salt. Let us pray. Gracious God, help us to be a blessing to all who know us. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Please face the flag and place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone today to
Chris
a
Shaw.
wonderful day, nice weather outside,
Very nice.
and we have a very, very hefty agenda today, so let's see if we can get through it. Right. At this time, we have a presentation from the Hawthorne School District and the Math and Science Academy's recent accomplishments. Superintendent Morgan, please step up.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be here this evening. I know you have a hefty agenda, so we will be brief. I just wanted to take a few moments to highlight a few of the things happening in the Hawthorne School District and some of the wonderful accomplishments that I would like to highlight. And Mr. Baruman is going to highlight some wonderful things happening at Hawthorne Math and Science Academy. I know that we all know how wonderful that place is, but we have a lot of other really fantastic schools in the Hawthorne School District. We have a California Distinguished School this year, and that's Jefferson Elementary School. It is only one of 79 elementary schools in Los Angeles County to be recognized as a distinguished school. We have been honored by the Campaign for Business and Educational Excellence at Ramona and HMSA. Our school district has been part of a policy study from USC. It's from the Learning Policy Institute, and they had professors from USC come out and study us. And the reason that they did this is because we are outperforming comparable schools in the state of California. So they want to look at the practices that we have in place and see if they can't help some other districts make some progress towards proficiency for their students. So that's been a real experience for us. They've spent several days in several of our schools talking to teachers and students and parents and really doing an in-depth study that should be released soon. We have our Project Lead the Way, which is a STEM-focused program at many of our schools, and our Project Lead the Way at Zilla Davis Elementary School was the first STEM launch school recognized in the state of California, and that was very exciting. We have our Project Lead the Way teacher at Bud Carson Middle School, who was recognized as the Project Lead the Way Teacher of the Year for California in her first year in the program. So we have some wonderful things happening. We have the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship that I know Mr. Baruman is going to talk a little bit about, but in addition to it being at Hawthorne Math and Science Academy, we also have it our Business Academy at Hawthorne Middle School. Our 3 academies, Hawthorne Middle School Business Academy, Prairie Vista Middle School Fine Arts Academy, and Bud Carson Middle School STEM Academy all have a distinct focus, and they are all doing really wonderful things. And I know that I've been here before talking about our Footsteps to Brilliance early literacy launch, and it's something that our school board has supported that allows every family in Hawthorne to access the program to promote early literacy. We just reached 100 million words read. So that is very exciting news for us. There are so many wonderful things happening in our school district. I would love to invite anybody to come and visit any one of our schools. We're very proud of what's happening. And Mr. Baruman is going to highlight some of the spectacular things happening at Hawthorne Math and Science Academy. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the time to kind of get a chance to brag about our school over a block away from here. But before I continue, I'd like to introduce Ahmed Mohammed. He's our science project contestant. And he can talk about his science project. I think he would do a better job than I would.
Hello, good afternoon. So essentially I've created a device that's actually able to distinguish between clean and water going down on drains. And since water is a major issue here in the state of California, here in our city, here in the west coast of the country, this device actually what it does is actually distinguishes clean and dirty water. If the water is clean, actually diverts that water and filters it and reuses it like tap water. And essentially based on all the testing that I've done, this can actually cut your household's yearly water usage in half. Thank you.
this project, he competed at the LA County Science Fair. He was second place overall in engineering applications. It was called H2U, Water Solutions for the Modern Household. He also was awarded the local level Stockholm Junior Water Prize for Student Innovative Solution for Impending Water Issues. Since he did so well at the LA County Fair, he went on to the State Science Fair. At the State Science Fair, he earned 4th place at the state level in environmental engineering, in the environmental engineering category. He was a 2018 recognition award for air and water waste management, environmental leadership. He also was an honorary mention by the California Architect Foundation. So this is the first time we've actually started kind of pushing our kids applying and competing at the County Science Fair. So we're very happy with the results, and we're looking to continue to this the following years. HMSA this year, Dr. Morgan mentioned that we were a California Honor Roll School, and this is by a nonprofit organization that compares our test scores to other test scores for other schools in the state. We've been earning this award since 2007. This year, we also had a student actually, and one of our teachers was a Bezel Scholars awardee, and basically, it's Christian Alexander and Victoria Kratz, and they were selected, so basically they're gonna go to Aspen, Colorado for a 1-week leadership training. They're gonna be doing workshops and participating in a lot of leadership training, and the idea is they're gonna create a program over there that they're gonna bring back to the community to uplift the community. And I think he's dealing with feeding homeless people. That was his idea, so he's gonna bring that back. And hopefully you'll see that program implemented in Hawthorne next year. And there was only a few people that were selected for this. There was, I believe, 10 students, 10 groups from the United States and about 4 from South Africa. So it's pretty admirable for them to be selected. This year, the U.S. News just came out again. U.S. News World reports that they've listed the 2018 best high schools in the country. We are number 95 in the national rankings.
Wow.
Number 10 in California, and number 3 in the national charter high schools category. So we're doing pretty well. I think we might have dropped a little bit. I think we're like 93 or 94 last year. Now we're down to 95. We're also developing a great scholar athlete program on our campus. We have some students that participate in sports this year. Our boys volleyball team made it to the Division 5 playoffs. Unfortunately, lost in the first round, but we also have the girls softball that made the playoffs. They actually almost had a chance to win the Mayor's Cup. I know it's more the Mayor's Cup is for football, but actually our girls competed against Lusinger and Lawndale and actually won those games. They didn't get a chance to compete against Hawthorne, so I guess you can't say they actually won the Mayor's Cup. But they were ranked number 1 in Division 7, so by CIF, they do a poll, and we were ranked number 1 at Division 7 for the last month. We actually made the rankings for Daily Breeze. We were ranked, I think, number 10 for like 2 weeks in April, which is pretty impressive for a small school that we are. And just now, I just came over from Holly Glen Park, and our girls just won over Upland Christian Academy 23-0. So this is the second round of the playoffs. We're going on to the next round on Thursday, and we're going to play the winner of Marymount or Westminster. Unfortunately, that's going to be an away game, because we've already been fortunate to have 2 home games in the playoffs. So now we have to travel. Last Friday, we had our college signing day. We like to celebrate all our students going off to college. So it's not just athletes who receive a scholarship. We do one for our students that are going off to college, and we have them sign a commitment. So last Friday, we had students commit to UCLA. That means these are students who've already been accepted, and they had to pick between UCLA, USC, UC Davis. So we had commitments to UCLA, UC Berkeley, USC. Most of the UCs, we had commitments to them. We had a student commit to University of Chicago. She's receiving a full ride. So now she's looking for some cold weather clothing. It's very hard to find in California. So she has to save up some money so she can buy some in Chicago. And we have another student heading all the way out to Tufts University. Ahmed Mohammed is actually the student just talked to you for a second. He's actually going to UC Irvine next year. And he told me earlier today he was an aerospace engineer, but now he's looking at double majoring. Mechanical engineering and aerospace. He just sent his application to add a second major. So we're doing some great things over at the little school down the street, the little old Masonic Lodge. So thank you for the opportunity to get a chance to brag about our school. Thank you.
Mr. Mohammed, come on up. We want to talk to you. Well, we want to I want to, on my behalf, and probably some of the council members, we have all the council, they'll say some words too, we're asking some questions. But I just want to let you know I'm proud of what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a science background too, I'm an engineer. I really get excited when I hear these things. Also for the programs, we have a sports program, and people say, oh, we don't want to send our kids to HMSA because there's no sports program. This is proof, you guys are telling us about that. But the fact that you're focusing on science engineering and taking it to that level, where we're producing students that are making an impact, like your experiment. I wanted to ask you, do you have the device handy? Is it something that you want to promote? Is it something that you're going to maybe talk to the local water companies, the districts, to see what they think, and if it's something that they can use? Because experiments aren't just meant to be put in a closet, they're meant to be put to use, right? Can you tell me more about that?
So essentially, I've been fortunate enough to be put in contact with LA Water and Power. I've been put in contact with a lot of industry people, and I've actually discussed this device. I was competing as it being a product, not just as an experiment. So I'm actually developing it even further, even though I'm no longer competing and no benefit to me. I'm actually developing it even further. Just last night, I actually figured out a way of actually improving the device such that its efficiency would be much higher as well.
Excellent. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Through the chair, congratulations to you and good luck to you. I've had the pleasure of working with West Basin, and I know that they have a lot of very qualified engineers who work very hard on water issues. And I've often thought, how are we going to get the next generation of water engineers? Because most young people I know don't go into that field. So it looks like you possibly could be heading in that direction. And even though you're interested in aerospace, I'd like for you to consider joining one of our water agencies when you graduate, because they really need you. And congratulations to you, and congratulations, Dr. Morgan, and all of your staff for bringing these wonderful children to us.
Thank you so much. Congratulations once more.
I have one more thing to say. Congratulations to Dr. Morgan and the great program, nationally ranked, and the USC professors go to the Hawthorne School District because of its what they're doing, which is incredible. But Mr. Muhammad, can you please contact our city manager? He's trying to put together a stormwater plan, so I know you can advise him. And Mr. City Manager, can you make sure to hire him as soon as he graduates from UC Irvine? We need him on our staff.
I think our city manager is worried.
To the chair.
Yes.
Ms. Mohammed, I too want to congratulate you in all your endeavors, and being such a young man, it's very, very, very inspiring, I'm sure, to other students as well. I can help you along in giving you the contact to DWP, the government liaison, Anthony Maxey. If you'd like for me to assist you in getting you over to them, please let me know. You can always reach our city hall city manager, and I'll be more than happy to facilitate that meeting for you.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you. Congratulations, Superintendent, and to Hawthorne's children, families. Mr. Clerk, please read the guidelines for oral communication, sir.
Thank you. Any person desiring to address the City Council should complete a speaker request card and submit the card to the City Clerk prior to the commencement of the meeting after obtaining permission to proceed by the presiding officer. Speakers should first state their full name and address for the record. They then shall state their business for all governing bodies briefly and completely, and unless granted further time by a governing body, shall limit their address to 3 minutes.
Okay.
The 3-minute limit shall include governing body or staff responses to queries posted by the speakers. However, the state open meetings law prohibits the City Council from providing a detailed response or acting upon any item not contained on the agenda posted 72 hours before a regular meeting and 24 hours before a special meeting. All remarks shall be addressed to the governing bodies as a body and not to any particular member thereof. The governing body may either dispose of the communication at the close thereof, or may refer it to an appropriate administrative officer for study, investigation, report, and or recommendation. Discussion, if any, shall be by members of a governing body only. Materials related to an item on the agenda submitted to the City Council after distribution of the agenda packet are available for public inspection in the city clerk's office during normal business hours.
Thank you, Mr. City Clerk. Mr. David Patterson?
He's the city treasurer.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address the council. I was going to be able to say for the entire council. I wanted to make sure I address the council just as a citizen. I want to talk about, I guess, some things in the news. First thing I want to do is commend the council for making some decisive action and getting rid of our finance director. Apparently, no longer need to be in that position. But also wanted to express a little bit of disappointment for kind of how that was communicated to the public. Essentially, the way I understood that letter, it was saying that somebody we knew who was dishonest found that they were more dishonest than we thought they were, and so we got rid of them. And it was somebody else's fault that he was here, or that he did whatever he did. It's kind of like, you know, I think a child would something may break in and say it wasn't my fault. You know, it's the council's responsibility to make sure that the proper checks and balances are in place so these things can't happen. I would have preferred for a letter to acknowledging the fact that those checks and balances hadn't been in place, so this was able to happen, and you guys decided to correct that mistake. Of course, I'd be remiss to say that if many of my suggestions had been followed through the course of the years, this wouldn't have the ability to happen. I still maintain that the city doesn't have the proper checks and balances and separation of duties when it comes to our finances, and that's why somebody can write themselves a check to themselves. I know in Gardena, the treasurer signs up on all checks over and above a certain amount. And so if things like that was in place, or hand signs, excuse me, then we would have been able to catch that a $25,000 check was being written to somebody for whatever reason without any documentation. I find it just all this kind of, you know, disheartening, given the fact that I don't know if you guys know, right, but the previous city finance director, excuse me, had the nicest office I've seen in the city. Like his entire office had been remodeled. He had flat screen TVs all around his office. And when people were talking about kind of overspending, they were talking about the previous mayor's office, which right now is being used as storage, which shows you how nice it really is. But thousands of dollars was spent on new furniture and flat screen TVs in the finance director's office, and nobody cared. I know that there's at least one of the council people didn't want to keep Ricky once he admitted that he had been lying to the council, but the majority chose to keep him, which I think obviously was a mistake. And just finally, I understand that we have the Public Oversight Funds Committee to help to kind of stop some of these things from happening. My question is, why don't we have the proper controls within all of our proper staff within the treasurer's office in order to prevent these things from happening? Why do we have to create some extra mechanisms when proper mechanisms should be in place in the first place? I just honestly believe that you guys are better than this, right? We have a lot of smart, educated, experienced council people with tremendous backgrounds, and we shouldn't continue to have people steal from the city and then we find out later and then try to do something later, as opposed to putting the right mechanism in place in the first place so it doesn't happen. So.
Okay, thank you. Elsa Aldeguer.
Good evening, Council. My name is Elsa Aldeguer, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the Latinos for Trump and also Make California Great Again. And I just want to share that there's thousands and thousands of Latinos that voted for President Trump, and we are against SB 54. So if you are considering opting out, we would really appreciate it because it's hurting the legal Latino community. We have different cities that have opted out, and we're very proud of them, and we hope and pray that you guys do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, these need to be filled out in the beginning, but we'll let these people come up after everybody who has submitted something. Speak first. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, the late request will come after you. That's all I'm saying. Thank you, ma'am. Darlene? There's only a name, Darlene.
That would be me.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. We have a Darlene over here, so.
Thank you for allowing us this opportunity. My name is Darlene, and I live in the United States of America. I am an American citizen. And I'm here to ask you guys to agendize opposing SB 54. Many cities are rising up and resisting this fake and phony law. It's a constitutional overreach orchestrated by Sacramento in order to take local control away from you and all the other cities. When you took your position as city councils, you took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. I would like to know how you plan to do that and at the same time support SB 54. This bill hides the criminals, it breeds criminals, and it enables criminals. I'm talking about the criminals already in the system and the criminals that are being released. I don't understand how a city would not be held accountable as an accessory to their crimes if someone was murdered, raped, or God forbid, killed by an illegal criminal who hid behind this fake and phony law in your city. You would be allowing it to happen. It comes back to the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution that you all took an oath to uphold. It's not about separating moms and kids. It's not about the dreamers. This is about illegal criminals that are being released back into our society. That is what SB 54 does. It goes against our Constitution. I back the blue. I support our president. And I'm asking you to look into filing a resolution or an amicus brief in opposing SB 54. You know, I was at a coffee shop on Saturday, and I was getting ready to go to another meeting, and I had my cafefe hat on, and I had my red, white, and blue shawl on, and I had to go to the restroom. I was just doing some work on my laptop. I got up, went to the restroom before I got ready to leave. And I walked out, and this was in La Habra, and this Hispanic approached me as I was coming out of the restroom. And she goes, I know what you are. I said, you do? She goes, yes, because I am too. I support our president and the Constitution. I know your hat, Kafifi. And she said, I am against illegal aliens. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Arthur Shopper?
You pronounced it right. Good job. Put this down. Sorry. Yes, my name is Arthur Shopper. I'm a proud California citizen. The Hawthorne City Council. I want to encourage you to bring forth an agenda item opposing SB 54 and supporting every city and county stakeholder throughout the state trying to stop this sanctuary state law. By opposing SB 54, Hawthorne will be taking more steps to ensure safety and security for county law enforcement and your citizens here in the city of good neighbors. SB 54 is immoral, dangerous, and unconstitutional. It rewards bad behavior, signaling to illegal aliens they can break into our country, into our county, without fear of repercussion or deportation following arrest and incarceration. This law is dangerous. It protects illegal alien criminals. Sheriffs have reported that they were compelled to release illegals who had committed the following crimes: sex with a minor, child cruelty, domestic violence. SB 54 provides a list of felonies which can be reported to ICE. However, many of those crimes end up being reduced to misdemeanors. They are in our jails, then they're released back to our streets. Last of all, in the law, it stipulates that county sheriffs may comply with ICE. They don't have to. So that means any murderer, any rapist could be released onto the street. Police chiefs have found they cannot work with federal law enforcement partners to tackle drug trafficking, human trafficking, and sex trafficking. The California Sheriff's Association has remained on record opposing SB 54. That includes our own sheriff, Jim McDonnell. And some officials have said that, now some police will say that SB 54 does not affect their policing, but I beg to differ. These criminals are returned to our streets to commit more crimes. And SB 54 is unconstitutional. It violates Article 1, Section 8. Immigration is a federal power, not a state power. Article 4, Section 4. The federal government has a responsibility to protect every state from foreign invasion. Illegal immigration falls under that category. Article 6, Section 2 establishes that the United States Constitution and federal law are the supreme laws of the land. No state or local jurisdiction can contravene that. Every one of you took an oath to uphold and defend the United States Constitution, to protect the rights of all citizens. So you have an obligation to oppose SB 54. 41 cities now are on record opposing this law. 2 in LA County. We've got Santa Clarita and Glendora already. You are not alone in this fight. Lawndale has already taken the first steps looking into this law. And Tulare County, we are seeing an uproar across the state. This has wide, bipartisan, multi-partisan support. Democrat, Republican, Independent, and as you heard from Darlene, people of all backgrounds are fed up with our state putting American citizens, law-abiding citizens in danger. Please have an agenda item at your next meeting to oppose SB 54. Thank you.
Good job out there.
Greetings, Council. My name is Abdullah Ali of the Islamic Center Hawthorne. I'm the chairperson Community Outreach at 12209 Hawthorne Way. On a lighter note, I'd like to personally invite you to our community iftar dinner, which we break fast during Ramadan, which we fast from dawn to sunset. And we have a community dinner June 2nd. And out of respect for your support, I'd like to always come and invite you personally, even though I know you got probably emails from us. And I'd like to invite the community here. And I see a lot of familiar faces, and we always appreciate the support that the City of Hawthorne has given us. And to be a good neighbor, taking the slogan from Hawthorne, and to be taking the slogan from to my right, Make America Great Again, we would like to invite community to our masjid, our mosque, for a dinner on June 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the invitation. Fred McIntosh?
I went to one of their barbecues a month ago. It was a pretty nice place to go to. So, I'm from McIntosh. I'm from El Segundo. I just live on the corner of Sepulveda and Imperial, was my neighbor. And I want to talk about the agenda of SB 54 and how you can probably put it on your agenda next time to kind of talk about it, maybe do an amicus brief. And so what I want to talk about is SB 54 is kind of an overreach, an obstruction of justice against federal laws designed for citizen protection. You're kind of like the Oversight Commission and the safety net that Hawthorne has to control any overreach from Sacramento that does not protect American citizens. SB 54 is a power play or a power grab that takes away power at the city level because they believe that they are superior to federal law. That's Sacramento trying to do an overreach. So they take power even when they feel like someone is trying to override them. They want people to smoke at the beach. They have all kind of crazy laws, stuff like that. Tax laws that are overtaxing us all the time. So the reason why I'm against SB 54 is this big safety issue, and it's put into law without voter approval. According to illegal immigrants and the U.S. Sentencing Commission, illegal immigrants are 3.7 times more likely to be sentenced for drug offenses than U.S. citizens. This is according to the federal commission that does federal crimes, because locally you can't ask somebody's immigration status. So you have to go with the data that's from the federal law enforcement agencies. Also, it's number one cause is gangs do 95% of all violent crimes. Number two, illegal immigrants have infiltrated these gangs. Now these sanctuary cities are only safer for gang members who are criminal aliens. Since SB 54 is an obstruction of justice and handcuffs ICE agents instead of the drug cartel, I'd like to see an amicus be created to make Hawthorne a safer place for a wide diversity of law-abiding people who reside in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Rosalind Liberté. If you could correct me if I pronounce the last name incorrectly.
It's all right. Like liberty.
Okay.
My name is Rosalind La Liberté. I actually grew up on 111th Street, which is not too far from here.
Get the microphone.
Not too far from here. And my parents immigrated legally from Indonesia, and that was a government that was pretty corrupt. And I think, why are we all here? We work all day, and then we have to come here to make sure our local government chooses to obey federal law. And that's really important. The Constitution, the flag, it's all important. The left, kind of took over California, and Jerry Brown, just says, this is the law, this is what we want to do, and went his own way. He was here before in the 70s, we saw him before, raised all our taxes, they went sky high, and now he's back. He wants open borders, and doesn't really care for the working class, which is most of us here. Then we have our representatives like Adam Schiff, Maxine Waters, and Brad Sherman, and they want to embrace the sanctuary state. It does sound noble, sanctuary. It has a good ring to it, but it's not right. It's bull. They've twisted things to where people want to opt out, where people who want to opt out are labeled as racists and bigots. All we really want is to live here safely. They've managed to scare many young people with lies that their parents will be deported and you'll be left alone. And, they're not the good guys, and they never will be. And I really am here to ask you guys, our local city council to think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. John Willis?
Way to go, John. How you live near here? How you grew up around here? No kidding.
Good evening, John Willis. I'm not going to state the name of my city because I just found out how badly we got whipped. 24-0, really? Is that what it was? So if I'm hanging my head in shame, that would be why. I'd like to ask you to jump on this current opt-out of SB 54 cruise ship because it's highly offensive. And your city seal would give evidence of that. E pluribus unum, out of many one. This is the only group that's ever asked for a special set of rules, dispensation, set-asides, whatever you want to call it. And essentially, all that law is doing is providing safe cover for illegal aliens that have broken our laws. It's not to protect mothers taking their kids to school or any of this. It's only to protect criminals. I don't get it. It's highly offensive. We've had all these groups. We've had black Americans that have been brought to America under chain and subject to horrible atrocities. Even in my lifetime in the South, they were subjugated to a separate set of rules. And yet they never got a special set of laws, hand-me-downs, dispensations, or whatever, and they actually are deserving of it. This young lady to my right here, she's a lovely gift to our country from El Salvador. Now, she was able to come here and become a citizen, so I'm pretty sure anyone that wants to come here and embrace our country can do it legally and lawfully. And that's all we're asking is for you to put this on the agenda to discuss it. Because like I say, it is offensive, and I deem it as racist. again, out of many, one. No one's asking for one group to supersede the other. We want everyone to come here and enjoy what this country has to offer, and roll up their sleeves and actually be one. And thank you so much to the man that gave us the invite to his interfaith dinner. I hope I can make it. But also, I'd just like to thank you for allowing us to come up here. And I hope you're not offended that I am an out-of-towner, but I am glad to be here. And also, I'd like to mention your motto here, City of Good Neighbors. Well, that's part of it too. I mean, do you want to be giving cover to criminals? I think not. So if you would please consider putting this up for an agenda discussion, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Young, I think the first name is Aura or Dura. I cannot read the first name.
Dura.
Dura?
Hi.
Okay, Dura Young.
Hello, City Council. My name is Dora Young, and I oppose SB 54. The federal government has the responsibility of protecting our nation and supporting our Constitution. As a city official, it is your responsibility to protect its citizens. Kevin De Leon wrote the sanctuary state law to prevent immigration enforcement inside of jails as misdemeanor crimes for illegal aliens. The California State Sheriff's Association remains opposed to the bill because it only addresses 80% of the crimes. The other 20% of the crimes committed by criminal illegal aliens is a part that we have to be concerned about. This is a loophole factor of SB 54. The crimes that are not covered under SB 54 are human trafficking, smuggling, narcotic trafficking by drug cartels, domestic violence, and repeat drunk driving. All we are asking is that your local law enforcement communicate with ICE for these types of crimes. Does SB 54 really make cities a safer place to live? This is what SB 54 actually does. It prevents file sharing between local law enforcement and ICE. And if you obstruct the communication between ICE and local law enforcement, cities are going to be less safe. ICE is responsible for enforcing immigration. Both the left and the right agree that ICE is a responsible party for enforcing immigration. SB 54 is a California law that obstructs ICE from doing their job. Therefore, if you obstruct ICE from doing their job, you're going to have a more dangerous city to live in. California must stop obstructing federal law. The Democrats in power are destroying our constitutional rights as citizens. Every citizen has a right to be protected by federal law. By putting together an amicus brief, your city council will be sending a clear message that you want federal law to supersede California law. Let's get rid of the unconstitutional laws that are put into place without voter approval. So we are not responsible for failed nations. California taxpayers are spending $23 billion per year on illegal aliens. We must take care of our Americans first, our veterans first, our homeless first, our foster children first. Remember, there's over 60,000 Americans who have been killed since 9/11 at the hands of illegal aliens.
Thank you. Kimberly Mason?
Good evening, City Council. Thank you very much. I am not quite as eloquent as the previous speaker, so I have to deal with my notes. So I apologize if I won't be making eye contact. I do want to state one thing. First of all, I oppose SB 54, and I encourage you to put it on the agenda. Some people have made reference to who has a right to say that because we're all immigrants, and that immigrants make America great. Well, I'm an American Indian. Here's my card. I'm a Choctaw Indian, my genealogy, everything. And so I'm here for my tribe saying that I oppose SB 54. If you read SB 54, I don't even think that it protects our, for lack of better words, illegal communities, but our communities that may house non-citizens, however you want to say it. SB 54 only takes care of the criminals. I encourage everyone to read it. Specifically, Health and Safety Code 11369 is being repealed, which is 15 different drug offenses. Why are we allowing 15 drug offenses, including sales and possession, as well as transportation, as well as hiring a minor for the purpose of transportation state to state? Why are we taking those out of deportable offenses? I'm not anti-immigrant, I'm anti-crime. And our immigrant communities are just as infested with drugs as every community is, every community. So why are we carving out this section and allowing that? So more to some of the laws. I want to say that the City Council and all government officials, you take an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution, not the whims of a state government that is arguably completely out of control by the number of lawsuits that have been filed against California for being in conflict with federal law. SB 54 is only one example. The other one is SB 50. Also to be contested is going to be AB 450, which fines businesses up to $10,000 if ICE comes in and they even so much as acknowledge. Most recently, SB 785, which now makes it inadmissible in court of law to say somebody's citizenship. Again, if people are coming here to make a better country and to be good Americans, like we all are, doesn't matter your race or your religion, but we're all Americans, and hopefully we all embrace this flag, then why is it inadmissible? Why are we carving out these caveats? So SB 54 interferes with city and state officials, law enforcement oath to office, and to the Constitution. It precludes state and local law enforcement agencies from participating with federal law enforcement. In 8 U.S. Code 1357G 10B states under the INA that with or without agreement, state must cooperate with apprehension, detention, or removal of aliens. Please stay with the Constitution.
Thank you.
Oh my.
Ingrid Mueller.
Way to go, Choctaw. Way to go, Pocahontas.
Hello, my name is Ingrid Mueller, and I'm here. Alex, the mayor, Alex Vargas, hello, and everyone here. I came all the way from California to here to speak to you about SB 54, and I'm completely against SB 54. Why? Because how can we be protecting illegal criminals? Bad enough we have illegal aliens all over California taking over, and now we're going to be protecting illegal criminals, people that shouldn't be here in the first place, and committing crimes, killing, raping, stealing identities, Social Security. That is absolutely disgusting, and I hope Mr. Vargas, the mayor, here in Torrance will consider Hawthorne. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Hawthorne. Yes, I know I'm in Hawthorne.
You called me out and you better get the city right.
Yeah, I know you're right. Well, I got the city right. It is Hawthorne. Yes. Okay. Well, at least I'm glad I'm making you laugh and smile. I've seen you very serious with all the people here opposing SB 54. I know it's not, some people do not agree with me and with us, but I'm sure you will understand and agree that supporting illegal aliens that shouldn't be here in the first place is appalling. I wish they would all get the hell out of California, and that there is a law here that protects legal immigrants and American citizens. And as you know, the Trump administration is suing the state of California because California does not want to give up illegal criminals and send them back to where they belong. And I have seen California transform into where illegal aliens have taken jobs from American citizens, taking over every city, right and left. My mother came here from Mexico, and she came here legally with her family. They waited several years to come to Los Angeles, and I'm really proud of that. And for people to just cut in line just because they're, oh, well, I need to work and I don't have a job and there's an opportunity here in California. Well, of course there are many opportunities, but you have to wait in line. People have to wait in line to come here, and we all know that. And anybody who's in favor of allowing illegal aliens coming to America, and especially here in California where I live and where we all live, is absolutely absurd and disgusting. And I really hope you all consider this bill to be on your ballot. Thank you very much.
And Andy, is there an Andy? They just put the name Andy? Not here. Patrick?
Oh, that was me.
Is
Arlie,
that
I
it?
mean?
Patrick.
Was that Arlie or Andy?
I think that was me.
The one before, do you know?
Go ahead first.
Okay.
What's the last name?
I couldn't read it right.
That
I'm
was
sorry
mine,
if I
that was
could.
me.
You're the one who filled this out, right?
No, I'm Patrick.
I'm the one
Okay.
before, but I'll speak after.
Okay. All right, thanks. Hey, I just want to thank you. I'm Patrick. I wanted to thank you guys for your service here and doing all the work you do. I just wanted to say, SB 54. Highly encourage you guys to really, if you have a city attorney, I'm sure you have a city attorney and stuff, or several. I would ask them, simply just bring it to them and just ask them, hey, can you look over this bill, SB 54, and just really tear it apart, because personally, I'm all for immigration, personally, I'm from Wisconsin originally. If I were wanting to come to the United States, I'd bust down any door to come here, so that's not really what this is all about. This is about strategy. So everybody that comes here, they're looking for a safe haven. They're looking for some opportunity and something really great for them and their families. And this totally takes away any kind of dignity that comes when you build yourself up in the United States, because it tries to combine the both. It tries to combine immigration with illegal activity. This is a bill that has all the advantages for the cartel. I mean, I would really encourage all of your attorneys to look into this with your sheriffs and get them in a mastermind together. You guys just sit down and say, hey, what do you think about this? Because this is all about weakening California. And I would encourage looking at De Leon, because that's where this is coming from. So I'd follow the trail, because he's just trying to make he's trying to make the agencies not work together. That's strange. To me, that would pose a red flag. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to stop communication between police officers and then also ICE and whatnot? All these red flags start going up, and then the police officers are in the field wondering, well, why can't we do our job? So I would encourage you guys to really look into this, because this is taking away any kind of dignity that comes, whether you bust down the door to come here and you eventually become legal, or also it takes away the dignity that comes from a legal system to get in this line, to come to the United States. So we want to encourage a legal system to come here. And by doing this SB 54 and some of these other things, that discourages any kind of legal activity. So we want to encourage the legal activity. We want to encourage entrepreneurship and everything else. This takes away from it. You guys dig into it. All right, thank you.
Andy?
Arlie. That's why I married that man, just so you know. I was raised here in Hawthorne. I went to school from kindergarten to 8th grade in the city of Hawthorne. So I know Hawthorne very well. It's a big city. I don't know how it's doing now, but I really, I like Hawthorne. I really urgently encourage the city of Hawthorne to not just consider addressing the criminal illegal law of SB 54. I did read the main part of SB 54, which was the scary part, and I read it several times. I would like you guys to bold it on your next agenda. Let your local citizens know what SB 54. Bring it up, and have them dig into it as well. By you guys bringing it up to the agenda, you guys will encourage your local citizens to find out what it really is, what's going on. This law is not something that we California citizens voted for. Or do you remember voting for SB 54? Because I don't remember. I ask that as a council, you turn to your law enforcement and get their take on how their hands are being tied against collaborating with immigration authorities. And I didn't know my husband was going to mention that, but he said that. Just sit with your attorneys and dig into this law. What does it mean? Why is it so tricky and sneaky? What is the true agenda behind SB 54? Why does it want to allow illegal criminals to run loose? Is this a mafia cartel corrupt ploy from Guatemalan Kevin Alexander Leon? Why is he the author and introducer of this corrupt law of all people? A man from Guatemala who has boasted about illegals and his family being here illegally. Something is fishy, and we need our counterintelligent mental radars on alert. That rings a big red flag in my mind. Yes, SB 54 provides a loophole for the cartel to weaken California. I don't doubt that the cartel is looking very closely that this SB 54 carry on full force. The cartel wants us to stay ignorant about the true, twisted, sneaky agenda. It's not rocket science. Let's wake up. It's a ploy and a scam, which is what they do best in corrupt world countries. We know. We have parents and family that live in those corrupt countries. And we know how they operate very well. And that is being introduced here in the United States of America. It's dirty. We Latinos or people that have family in third world countries should recognize that. I understand sometimes Americans who haven't left their country and are spoiled, they're naive. They don't know how this works. We need to be careful, stay on board, and jump on board to take a stance against SB 54, to protect our dignity as patriotic citizens. We want to keep making America great and keep it great. We can't allow such corrupt laws that in third world countries are being used. I'm not done. Am I done? Is my time is up? You keep nodding like my time is up.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
I am.
That's not a problem. Give her another.
Yeah. I do encourage the city of Hawthorne. Let me see, sorry, because you threw me off.
Wasn't intentional.
I don't want anyone to say that I'm against immigration, because a lot of people get it confused when we're speaking about SB 54, that we're against immigration. It's obvious that we're not. We're multicultural legal citizens or citizens from all countries. So this is not about that. This is about illegal criminals. And that's what SB 54 is related to. So if you're not sure what SB 54 is about, just look into it, research it yourself. Don't let anybody give you opinions. Read it 10 times, because there's a little legality twist to it. And make sure that nobody comes to tell you, oh, well, they're racist and they're against immigration, because we're not. We're not. We're just against corruption. At least I am. I'm against corruption. And yeah. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Gordon Michael Migo.
My name is Gordon Michael Migo, native and resident of Hawthorne since October the 8th, 1952. At previous meetings, I have spoken about some important items that deal with public image and economic vitality of the city of Hawthorne, such as the 100th anniversary of our city in the year 2022. What steps have been taken in the formation of a committee of residents, business owners, and civic leaders to oversee plans for a celebration? What outreach efforts have been made with SpaceX to finance the design, construction, and display of a historic float for Hawthorne at the Tournament of Roses Parade in Pasadena, January 1st of 2022? What efforts have been done to we induct Joe Contestable, who is a Hawthorne High School football player of great significance. We inducted the Kiwanis Club, long-standing member of the community, and it's part of the international set. Phillips Plumbing and Heating, decades-old business, and has done fantastic service for our community. Jeff Tipton of Belkin International, an electronics wizard, that's really done wonders in this technological field. And finally, Emmett Rhodes, a singer, writer, musician, long-standing from the 1960s forward. And he's played at our Good Neighbors Day event, which will be taking place in, I might add, in July. It's usually like the third Saturday in July. And we will be combining the Kiwanis Club entertainment portion with the Good Neighbors Day event.
Thank you so much for the update, sir. Thank you very much for your support. If there's anybody else who would like to address the council,
I put in a request about a long time ago.
You're free to line up now.
All right.
Good opportunity.
Good evening, council members. I'm here representing the Historical Society of Centinela Valley. In case you didn't know, you're part of that. It's a 24,000-acre rancho, and that included Inglewood, Hawthorne, Lawndale, Lenox, Hermosa, Manhattan, El Segundo, Playa del Rey, and Westchester. And every year for the past 43 years, we've been hosting an annual barbecue that gives the entire community of the entire rancho and anybody else who wants to come along the opportunity to walk through the very first house of the South Bay, which was built in 1834, along with the 1888 land office, the very first ever real estate office, and of course the remains of the Daniel Freeman mansion. So I brought some postcards that I'd love to hand to someone. Okay, and thank you, Norm. And also a couple of flyers. So I would hope that each and every one of you who have not been there will come and see it for the first time, and those of you who have attended, come back and see us again. We don't require that you dine with us. You're always welcome to come and just enjoy our properties and the tours and discover how great it was to imagine being so many years ago on 24,000 acres with absolutely no other houses in sight, and discover what the joys of a drought can do to your life when that is your income source. Aren't we glad there's such a great thing as barley? I know those of us who don't always get around to the edges of our backyard aren't so thrilled when it pops up and grows there and you go, what is that stuff? But that's what made Daniel Freeman wealthy. And of course, if you don't know his history, he became the third president of the Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce. And he was often the man who ran around celebrating the citrus of Southern California way back on the East Coast, bringing all those newbies to Southern California. So I'd encourage each and every one of you, if not to come and enjoy the wonderful atmosphere, to join us. And mark on your calendars for September our fiesta, because that's our other major event. We have your folklorical dancers, the ones from your recreational center, and a wonderful mariachi band, and of course, handmade tortillas, pan dulce, a weaver, spinner, and a lace maker. So that's 2 advertisements in one, and I hope to see you there. Bye now.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, next speaker now.
What's your name?
I'm Diane.
Everybody gets an opportunity.
I did turn in quite a while ago. Okay. I'm Megan Dowling. I'm a former engineer and I'm a medical professional, and I'm from the Belly of the Beast, Los Angeles County, where on Alvarado Street, illegal aliens readily get fraudulent passports, social security cards, green cards, birth certificates, and the pro-illegal community have a free text alert program, Pase la Voz, an obstruction of justice tool that reports the location of ICE checkpoints and raids to illegal aliens. And then there's a Soros-funded app called Notifica that helps illegals avoid arrest and deportation. The primary function of the government is to protect its citizens. 3 DUIs are still a misdemeanor and not reportable to ICE under SB 54. Prop 47 also makes misdemeanors out of shoplifting, grand theft, receiving stolen property, forgery, fraud, writing a bad check if the amounts don't exceed $950. Prop 47 would also reclassify a wide range of crimes from felony to a misdemeanor, such as stealing firearms or possession of date rape drugs. I'm against SB 54 and the nullification of our federal immigration laws that are meant to vet who comes to this country and to protect its citizens and legal immigrant residents. I've been a victim of illegal alien crime, from having a gun brandished at me, to having my car crowbarred open, to defecation in my yard, stalking, and identity theft, most of which were reduced to misdemeanors or infractions not reportable to ICE under SB 54 now. Ron Martinelli, an expert forensic criminologist, compiled data from FBI, DHS, DOJ, and other law enforcement agencies and found that sanctuary cities have higher crime rates in general than non-sanctuary cities. When Phoenix ditched their sanctuary status, crime dropped precipitously. When South Florida took in 130,000 aliens from Mariel, Cuba, in 3 months, crime skyrocketed. Moreover, the excuse that crime will be higher in non-sanctuary cities because illegal alien crime victims won't come forward is invalid, since there exists a plethora of victim visas, T and U visas, for the express purpose of protecting such victims or witnesses. Between SB 54, the Trust Act, which limits the state's cooperation with secure communities, and Governor Brown signing a bill in 2014 that amended a statute that reduced max sentencing for misdemeanors by 1 day from 365 days to 364 days in jail, deliberately done to avoid deportation, requiring deportation of illegal immigrants who've received a sentence of 365 days or more, and newly enacted jail and prison diversion programs such as Prop 109, 57, and Prop 47, which drastically reduced sentencing from felonies to misdemeanors and dismissal. Governor Brown et al. Are effectively preventing the federal government from removing violent and recidivist illegal alien criminals from our midst through the deportation process. We are endangering American citizens and legal residents. And don't call ICE anti-immigrant for enforcing laws passed by Congress. I respectfully request you uphold your oath of office and adopt some sort of resolution opposing Senate Bill 54 on a future agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker. If there's anybody going to address the council,
Okay.
just form a line right now so we can get an idea.
Listen, we better get Yeah, we gotta hurry.
Stacy, come up with me. Go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city department heads, our wonderful city of Hawthorne. Liddell Wood is the proud parent here in the city of Hawthorne. I won't take too much time. It's definitely been a council meeting at its best today. However, I want to congratulate all the graduates that's entering out of college, entering to the world. Please consider Hawthorne your living place and bring your talents and abilities that you have learned to our city and be a part of a growth in our city. And I would also like to mention, please get out and vote June 5th. We have a very, very
All right, folks, we had a great time here. Thanks for following along. We'll see you in Hermosa.